In Pennsylvania, a former Acorn worker may take the stand in a voter registration fraud case. A lawyer for the state Republican Party there says this former employee will tell how Acorn pays cash to workers and sets quotas for voter registration forms they bring in. The Pennsylvania GOP is suing to force the community group to release its voter registration lists. The judge could make a ruling today. We'll keep our eyes on it.
Acorn is backtracking big time from a claim it registered that registered 1.3 million new voters. The community group now admits the number is closer to 450,000. This wild exaggeration, Republicans say, is further proof that Acorn is up to no good. Bill Salmon is Fox's Washington deputy managing editor. All right, Bill, if a group says they signed up 1.3 voters, they really only got, what, about a third of that? There's nothing illegal about that, is there?
Well, they turned in 1.3 million names. They're just saying that only 400,000 of them are actually legitimate. They're saying another 400,000 are highly questionable. And within that universe of the highly questionable 400,000, they are now, Acorn and Project Vote are saying that they have found 15,000 fraudulent registrations. Now remember, the 2000 election that gave us our current president was decided by 537 votes in Florida. Acorn is admitting to 15,000 fraudulent registrations. Now, other groups are looking at these numbers and saying, actually, it's much higher than that, but I think it's significant that for the first time you have Acorn and Project Vote on a national level acknowledging major fraud. Previously, we saw that in Ohio where they were acknowledging fraud. Now we have it nationwide.
But they also say that they went over with, I think, electronically checked the registrations they submitted in the 18 states where they were really trying to push to sign up voters, right?
Well, yes, and that's admirable, and they certainly have probably called out some of the bad names. But remember, this is Acorn. This is a group that has a partisan agenda to elect one candidate over the other. We've seen that in their endorsement. We've seen that in the fact that Barack Obama used to work for Project Vote, which is an affiliate of Acorn, and Barack Obama represented Acorn as an attorney in a lawsuit against the state of Illinois. So it's not like this is a disinterested group here. This is a group that is collecting basically Democratic names. And
they're not interested in signing up Republican voters, you're saying?
Not terribly. I think if you really forced your way in and said, I really want to sign up as a Republican, they'd take you. But they are looking for Democrats. And I think some of the evidence, some of the stories that have been done indicate that. And the other point to make, John, is that there was a New York Times piece finally acknowledging this today, and they kind of poo-pooed the possibility that people would actually act on these fraudulent registrations by voting. The thing to remember that if you have unscrupulous people inside the Board of Elections at the county level, they can vote a bunch of bad names, whether those people ever show up at the polls or not. And I've seen this happen in Cuyahoga County in Ohio. Names get voted whether those people ever show up. So corruption occurs at both ends of the process, and that's how voter fraud occurs in addition to registration fraud.
Well, and then there have also been all of these screaming headlines about 1.3 million new voters signed up by Acorn, and that's got to have a depressing effect on the turnout for the opposing party.
I couldn't agree more. We've been hearing for weeks and weeks and weeks about all of these huge numbers of Democrats have been signed up to vote, and Republicans are feeling like the election's over. And the mainstream media has been pounding this home. And now, you see, well, actually, it wasn't 1.3 million people. It was only 400,000. And even that number, I think, is suspect. And so, therefore, it's hard to unring the bell and try to get the Republicans motivated again because, again, the left and the press and Acorn basically have portrayed it like the election's already over, and it's not.
And it does sound like some of those 400,000 are still going to be gone through, or should be gone through with a fine-tooth comb by some elections officials. Bill Salmon, our deputy managing editor in Washington, thanks.
Thanks, John.
This is a